Hello students, welcome to class 12 biology. Today we are going to learn biozoology 11th lesson, causes of biodiversity loss. Here you have major causes for the loss of biodiversity, that is habitat loss. Habitat, it is a place where the organism live. And habitat fragmentation. What is fragmentation? The splitting of the space. So that is what is habitat fragmentation, that we will learn in detail. Over exploitation, usage of the space makes a space become unfertile because the fertility of the land is being used by the organism, and it is not being restored. So that is what is called as the over exploitation. Exotic species invasion. Exotic, that is foreign species, once it comes into our land, it may cause adverse effect on our indigenous species. Global climate change, co-extinction, pollution, forestry, natural threats, and intensive agriculture practices. Okay, we will learn all these in detail now. Major causes, so that is what is repeated here in this point. Then habitat loss. Natural habitats are destroyed for various purposes. So for the purpose of agriculture, we are destroying the forest, and during mining, for that we need the space for those industrial people to live in. So the nearby area is destroyed, and it is used for human use, and for the construction of industries and construction of the highways. That causes loss of habitat for certain organisms. As a result, species are forced to adapt to the changes in the environment, so they move to other places, that is migration. If they don't move to other places, they become victim to predation or starvation. As you know, it is without the food habitat, if there is no plants being present, and it is just destroyed for the purpose of constructing highways, it may get the animals which live in there will not get the food. That is what result in starvation, and it may cause diseases sometimes, and eventually the organisms die. That is what is called as the habitat loss. And again, the impact of habitat loss is given here. So it is the annihilation of the plants, microorganisms, and forcing out animals from their habitats. Okay, so next we have about examples. So the most dramatic example of the habitat loss that comes from the tropical rainforest, that is, the example is given here. 14% of the earth's land surface is covered by the tropical forest, and now it has reduced to 6. See here, it was 14 and now it is 6. So much it is getting reduced. And Amazon rainforest is called as lungs of the plant. Because of the number of trees, it could produce more in quantity of oxygen for the whole world. And Kodaikanal and Nilgiri hills of Tamil Nadu have been destroyed rapidly for human occupancy. Next we have about the habitat fragmentation. The destruction of the food chain and food web occurs because of the habitat fragmentation. So it is a process where large continuous area of the habitat or the both is getting reduced. The area is divided into more in number of fragments. Okay, so that will not allow more in number of organisms to live in a same place. Okay, so the species may struggle for the existence of the space. Then the destruction of food chain and food web occurs. Destruction of species may also occur. Extinction of species restricted to these habitats can occur. Next we are going to learn about the impact of fragmentation. Animals requiring large territories, that is the large boundaries, so they may not be able to live if the habitat is going to get fragmented. The elephant corridors and migratory routes may be affected, and the dwelling of many well-known birds like sparrow and animals can be the affected organisms. Next we have over-exploitation. When the need becomes greed, it leads to over-exploitation. Excessive exploitation of the species reduces the size of the population. Okay, so excessive exploitation of this species may reduce the population of a particular species, and it may lead to extinction of particular species. Next we have about the exotic species invasion. Exotic species, that is a foreign species that can be intentionally or unintentionally given, or it is just made to come into our country, and it may be harmful for us. Okay, so one of the exotic species, as we have seen, is the Eichhornia. So but it is no way beneficial for our country. Then tilapia fish introduced from east coast of South Africa, okay, for his high productivity into Kerala inland waters. It became invasive species, and it has become the competitor for the local species, and the local species got extinct. Okay, so then we have few examples. That is, African apple snail is the most invasive among all alien fauna of India. This mollusk was first reported in Andaman Nicobar Island. Global climate changes. Industrialization is a major contributor to climate. Energy derives our industries, which is provided by burning of fossil fuel. So in turn, burning of fossil fuel can cause global climatic changes, and this increases emission of CO2, GHG, leading to climatic changes due to large scale deforestation, and it can be the cause for emission of carbon dioxide level increase in our atmosphere. Next we have about the impacts of global climatic changes. So climatic change increases land and ocean temperature and changes in precipitation pattern. As you know, the precipitation refers to raining, okay, melting of glaciers, and loss of the predictability, in weather pattern, and extreme weather conditions, that is extreme hotness or coldness, and sometimes outbreak of diseases like pandemic. Then migration of animals occur, and loss of trees in forests. Next we have about shifting cultivation. In shifting cultivation, plots of natural tree vegetation are burnt away, or they are cleared from the area. The farmer death of vulture population is found to be because of the thinning of the eggshells. So lack of nourishment and water, and the requirement by the bird is not being fulfilled because of this pollution. So the thinning of the eggshell may reduce the vulture population. Then forestry, a tendency to grow economically important and viable trees like teak, sandal, oak, sal in forests, resulting in loss of other forest trees. And natural threats, it can be spontaneous jungle fire and tree fall, landslides, and defoliation. So defoliation is loss of leaves from the tree. So this can occur because of the attack of some insects. Here example is given, locust. We have intensive agriculture practice. So in terms of doing agriculture in an intensified way, we are just destroying the forest. So in turn we lose most of the trees, which is important for maintaining ecological balance. Here the spread of agriculture sometimes at a cost of wetland and forest. Okay, so intensive agriculture practice based on few high yielding varieties results in reduction in the genetic varieties. So it is essential to maintain balance in our environment. There are only few varieties of traditional paddy strain today due to the use of hybrid varieties in Tamil Nadu. So loss of certain varieties of paddy is occurred because of this intensive agricultural practice. Next we shall continue with human activities. that is direct activity and indirect activity to spoil our environment. So hotspot, as I told you, the area where species are getting endangered, that is called as the hotspot. Then the names of the endangered organisms and types of extinction. Extinction can occur by natural way or by anthropogenic way, that is by man-made. Okay, then about IUCN we will learn in detail, and preparation of a red data book and purpose of red list and 8 categories of species under red list. That is what we are going to learn now. So human activities greatly contribute to the loss of biodiversity. As you know, diversity, variation among the organism, that is getting lost. That is what is called as loss of biodiversity. Natural resources such as land, water and organisms are indiscriminately exploited by human activities. Next we have direct activity, so that contributes to the destruction of the particular environment. Change in local land use, species introduction or removal. So suddenly we just introduce some species from foreign country, that may affect the local species. And change in local land use, how we are using the land with the help of a chemical or by dumping the garbages, that is what it meant. And harvesting, so how we are harvesting and what is the product that is harvested from the land. And pollution, different kinds of pollution made using certain non-biodegradable pollutants such as plastic. Indirect, demographic increase in population, economic, technological, cultural and religious factor that we will learn in detail. Indirect effects results in loss of biodiversity, that is by naturally the monsoon failure may occur, and global warming and depletion of ozone layer, landslides may be with the indirect cause for loss in biodiversity. Next we have hotspots. According to Norman, hotspots are defined as the regions that harbor a great diversity of endemic species at the same time have been significantly impacted and altered by human activity. Here should mention the word altered. It has changed, okay, because of the human activity. That is what we call it as the hotspot. Hotspot is a region that supports at least 1500 endemic vascular plant species, has lost more than 70% of its original vegetation. Indian hotspots are the names of the area given: Himalaya, West Ghats, Indo-Burma region and Sundarland. Next we have endangered organisms. The species that has been categorized as very likely to become extinct is called as endangered species. This is the definition for endangered organisms. Endangered categories are listed down by IUCN, that is called as a red list. Okay, so it is the second most severe conservation status of wildlife population. So we have the data that has been created to save the endangered species. Extinction. So the definition for extinction is given here. Species is considered extinct when none of its members are alive. So not even a single organism of that kind is alive, then we call it as extinction. If individuals of a species remain alive only in captivity or other human controlled condition, the species is said to be extinct in the wild. In both situations, the species would be considered globally extinct. Okay, so sometimes it may be caged and one or two species are under human control, then also it is considered as the extinct species, only globally extinct species. Next we have about natural extinction. So it is due to the change in the environmental condition and may be due to predators or diseases. A small population can get extinct sooner. So mass extinction, Earth has experienced this mass extinction with respect to dinosaurs. A mass extinction occurred about 225 million years ago during Permian period. Okay, so 90% of shallow water marine invertebrates disappeared. Okay, all of a sudden most of the organisms disappear from the environment or from the earth is called as a mass extinction. Then we have about anthropogenic extinction, extinction artificially created by man. Okay, so or by the human activity. This can be because of hunting, habitat destruction, overexploitation, urbanization and industrialization. So example is given here. This point is important. Amphibians seems to be at higher risk of extinction because of their habitat extinction. The most serious aspect of loss of biodiversity is the extinction of the species. This is important for 1 mark question. The unique information contained in its genetic material, that is DNA, and the niche. What is niche? The functional area of the habitat it possesses are lost forever. That is what is called as anthropogenic extinction. Okay, coming to IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. It is an organization that works with the field of nature which will conserve the nature and sustainable use of natural resources. So what is sustainable? Prolonged use, for long time use. That is what we call it as the sustainable use of natural resources. It was established in 1948. Okay, so and it is located in Switzerland. It is involved in data gathering. This point is important. It is involved in data gathering and analysis, research, field projects and education on conservation, sustainable development and biodiversity. Next we have IUCN's mission to influence, encourage and assist societies throughout the world to conserve nature. So major aim is to conserve nature, to ensure that any use of natural resources equitable and ecologically sustainable. That is a major aim for IUCN. A role of IUCN, it influences government and industries through partnership. By providing information and advice, the organization collects and compiles. So it will put data together and compare them. That is what is meant, collects and compile, and it is published by IUCN as a red list. So this is what is the definition for red list. Okay. So this red data book or red list is a catalog of taxa facing risk of extinction. IUCN, which is renamed as WCU, World Conservation Union. The concept of red list was suggested in 1963. Next we have about the purpose of red list: to create awareness and degree of threat to biodiversity. So all these points are very important. These points are important because this is a major purpose of a red list is to conserve the species, to identify and to conserve, to create awareness, okay, and identify and document the species which is at a higher risk. And by seeing that and documenting the species name, we can go and conserve the particular species, provide global index for declining biodiversity, and preparing conservation and priorities to help and conserve the particular species. Information on international agreements on conservation and biological diversity. Next we have about red list 8 categories of species. This is important 3 mark question. Extinct in wild, critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, low risk, data deficiency, not evaluated. These are the 8 categories of species under red. What is biodiversity conservation? Conservation strategies, in situ conservation and ex situ conservation we are going to learn in detail. What is biodiversity conservation? Protection and scientific management of biodiversity to maintain optimum level to derive sustainable benefits is called as biodiversity conservation. The major aim is to protect the species from extinction. So then we have the conservation strategies. So what are the strategies? to identify and protect all threatened species which is at the verge of extinction, to identify and conserve the protected areas where wild relatives of all the economically important organisms present, identify and protect critical habitats, okay, for feeding, breeding and nursing. So nursing is about the parental care and resting of each species. Air, water and soil should be conserved on priority basis. Wildlife Protection Act should be implemented. So these are all the conservation strategies. There are two aspects of conservation, that is what we are going to learn in detail now. In situ conservation, this is important question. It is a conservation of genetic resource through their protection within natural or man-made ecosystem. Okay, so within natural or man-made ecosystem. So protected areas, these are biogeographical areas where biological diversity along with natural cultural resources is protected. So protected areas can be natural park, wildlife sanctuary, community reserves, biosphere reserve. World Conservation Monitoring Center has recognized 37,000 protected areas worldwide. So India has about 771 protected areas to conserve all these extinct organisms. National parks. National parks is an area which is strictly reserved for betterment of wildlife and biodiversity. So the activities like development, forestry, poaching, hunting, grazing and cultivation are not at all permitted in these areas, and they are large areas for the scenic and national beauty is maintained for scientific and educational recreational uses. They are not used for commercial extraction of resources. Okay, so that is about the national parks. And national parks in India and when it was established is given. Kindly learn by heart the year. Then wildlife. So wildlife sanctuaries, it is a large mass of land where we have the wild animals are being taken care. Okay, so other activities like collection of forest products, regulated harvesting of timber, private ownership of land is permitted. Okay, so ecotourism is also permitted, which tells us that it is commercially being used. Previously we have seen that the national parks are not used for the commercial purposes, but wildlife sanctuaries are used for commercial purposes. Sanctuaries names is given and year of establishment is also given here. Kindly learn by heart. And biosphere reserve. So biosphere reserves are designed to deal with conservation of biodiversity and economical and social development of the cultural values. Biosphere Reserve Program is guided by UNESCO, and the India is a signatory to the landscape approach supported by the MAB program. So what is MAB program? Man and Biosphere Program. The scheme is called as Biosphere Reserve and it was implemented by the year 1986. Biosphere Reserve in India is about 18 biosphere reserves are seen. And next we have sacred groves. So where we have the trees together, they are called as the grooves when it is grown together. Okay, so it is made sacred in order to protect them with the cultural values so that it will not be cut periodically. It can be saved. So extive conservation is the conservation of selected rare plants and animals in places outside their natural home. So here outside their natural home, that is what extive conservation mean. Okay, so in situ and extive conservation terms are important. So here extive, that is outside their natural home. Okay, so in under extive conservation, offsite collection, they are live collection of wild and domesticated species in botanical garden, zoological park, wildlife safari parks, garden and trees and shrubs. The organisms are well maintained for captive breeding program. Many animals which have been extinct in the world continue to be maintained in zoological park. As the number increases in captive breeding, the individuals are selectively released in the wild. In this way, the Indian crocodile and Gangetic dolphin have been saved from extinction. Gene bank, this is most important and you know it well. So these are the types of biorepository, that is regaining, okay, seeds of different genetic strains which are of commercially important can be stored in the genetic bank. Gametes of threatened species can also be preserved. Okay, so limitation, it is not economically feasible because it takes more money to preserve the gametes, because it should be maintained under minus 18 degrees centigrades. The number of species required to be saved from extinction are more in number. Next, 11th lesson is one of the simplest lesson about the loss of biodiversity and how it can be protected. Today we have completed with 11th lesson in biozoology. So totally I have completed with 10, 11, 12 lessons in biozoology. Okay, so I will just make one video for writing the record. You can see the video and start writing with your record. Thank you, students.